Guys, what's happening? This is Mike at Mike's Little Dragon channel, and I have X-Men Age of Revelation Overture. This is the, I guess you would call it the first book in the big X-Men storyline, the Age of Revelation. This just came out last week. This is by Jed MacKay and art by Ryan Stegman. And basically, the really quick Cliff Notes version of it is Doug Ramsey, who you may know as Cypher. He, over recent past couple months in X-Men comic books, has become the heir of Apocalypse. And part of that, as you can see, this is Apocalypse right here on the cover. So we see half Apocalypse, half Doug Ramsey. But as part of Doug Ramsey becoming the heir of Apocalypse, he has received a major power boost. Previously, his power was he was able to communicate, speak any language, understand any language, etc., etc. But part of his power boost is he not only can now speak and understand languages, he can speak to, like, your cells in your body, basically controlling people. So what we have here is a future reality in which Doug Ramsey has taken control, and he has established mutants as the primary force on Earth. I'll show you a couple pages right here. So we have right here X-Men Age of Revelation Overture, and it's called X Years in the Future because it takes place 10 years from the current X-Men storyline. So we open up, we have Scott Summers here, and this Scott Summers is the body of the Scott Summers from 10 years into the future, but the mind of the current Scott Summers, who is in, current times. Basically, kind of like a reverse of the original Days of Future Past, where they sent future Kitty Pryde into past Kitty Pryde's body. They sent past Cyclops' mind into current. They sent past, this is tricky. They sent past Cyclops' mind into the Age of Revelation Cyclops' body, because essentially the shit has hit the fan and they need Cyclops to help them stop everything that's going on. And one of the things that Cyclops says, is Doug Ramsey has established mutants as the big, he's carved out a place for them. They're no longer hunted and feared. This seems like a good thing. And Magneto tells him that no, things are not really as good as you would think they would be, because things have quickly gone south. Doug Ramsey seems to be corrupt, and a lot of the Earth has been poisoned, and a lot of it has been made uninhabitable due to a couple other subplots they have going on. So, but long story short, so not only has Cyclops been brought into the future to help stop all this, Hank McCoy, his mind has been brought into current Beast's body as well, and they are here to basically stop Doug Ramsey, to try and put an end to his reign. As Magneto says here, as I told you, this land was built on genocide and a lie. Both must be paid for. We're going to kill Revelation and free this land from his influence. So it is one big future post-apocalyptic future, as the X-Men have. Basically, think Age of Apocalypse. Very similar to that, but kind of a more modern telling of it. Essentially, when you have Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman putting their fingerprints on it. It has some really great pages. One of my favorite scenes here is where the heroes are starting their journey through the woods or whatever, and you hear this sound here, the snick sound, and it freezes Magneto and Cyclops in their tracks. And who else does the snick sound but Wolverine? We have this great page, this full page right here of Wolverine. He is someone that works for Doug Ramsey, and that's a really badass drawing of Wolverine. They go to war, they start fighting, etc., etc. Zorn detonates because Zorn is essentially a giant energy black hole type person. His face is like a sun or something like that, and basically he unleashes his whole power at Wolverine as Wolverine stabs him through the gut. And this is a really cool page right here as well, where you see basically the effects of it. It's essentially a huge atomic style blast. Really awesome looking page. And then this is the fallout right here. You see all the heroes, they're trying to escape the blast, running from it. And then Wolverine starting to come back, starting to regenerate from just basically ooze guts right here. So this is the first issue. And then right here in the last page, we see every X-Men book has been canceled and has going to be operating under the Age of Revelation X years from today. So previously it would have been Laura Kinney, Wolverine. Now it's known as Laura Kinney, Sabretooth. We have Long Shots, Iron and Frost, etc., etc., Omega Kids, the Sinister Six. And a lot of these teams on these books are the same teams that were on previous X-Men books. So I would not, like I've said before, I wouldn't recommend reading every single one of them unless you super are really interested. I would just pick up the teams, creative teams that you like. But if you were reading their stuff before this big, this big event, if you were reading their stuff, keep it up, pick those teams up. I was reading the Storm book before this relaunch, so I'm going to keep reading the same creative team, Rogue Storm. But that's how I would approach it. So that is a quick look at the first issue here of X-Men Age of Revelation. The issue 0 has already came out. You probably don't really need that. You probably can figure everything out from just this issue number 1 right here. So if you didn't pick up this issue 0, don't sweat it. Everything you need to know is going to happen right here in this issue. So you can kind of pick it up and not feel lost. Just kind of stick with it. But if you are a big fan of alternate realities, post-apocalyptic futures, if you love the original Age of Apocalypse or Days of Future Past, this will be a book that you'll super dig. It's along the same lines. The X-Men do future timelines that may or may not come true more than anyone else. So this is right up their wheelhouse. But until next time, you guys take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.